Have you ever dreamt of a life you want to live, but no matter how hard you try, you always never seem to be able to find a way to start chasing that dream? You wake up, all your days start the same. You do the same things every day, such as work, eat, and sleep. Whenever you have free time, you often find yourself scrolling through social media, watching a new show, or you find yourself exhausted so you fall asleep. All your days feel the same, and you wish something would change. You start to think of all the things you want to change in your life. You then try to change these things, but after a while, you find yourself back in the same place you started. It may feel impossible to start making the changes you want to make, but what if I told you that it is 100% possible to change your life? One day about 2 months ago, I realized I needed change. I was waking up every morning feeling unmotivated and unhappy with how I was spending my days. My days would consist of me using my time to scroll through social media, lay in bed all day, and eat junk food. Sounds very unproductive, right? I had so many things I wanted to do, but I kept procrastinating and never doing them. One of those things I wanted to do was start this YouTube channel. I had thought about picking up my camera every day to record videos, but something always held me back from doing it. That something was our brain's natural resistance to change. I knew if I could overcome this resistance to change, that I could finally see the change in my life that I wanted. So what is this resistance and how do we overcome it? When we try to make a change in our lives, whether it be something small like eating healthier or something big like changing jobs, it sends a signal to our brain that we are in danger. That's because our brain recognizes trying to change as a risk. Your brain would rather you stay the same because there's no risk in that and it feels more comfortable that way. Therefore, our brain meets any sort of change with resistance because you are changing what your brain is used to. This is also known as the comfort zone. The comfort zone is a state of mind when a person feels at ease because they are not being faced with any challenges. When we are in our comfort zone, it becomes difficult to get out of it because we'd rather do what makes us feel comfortable than take risk and try to change these habits. We feel more comfortable doing things that we feel have no risk to them and that feel good to us. That's why it's so easy to start scrolling through social media, sleep in, and eat junk food. And that's why it's so difficult for us to limit our phone use, wake up early, and start eating healthier. If we try to do one of these more difficult things, such as waking up early, we feel resistance to it. We would rather sleep in because sleeping in feels a lot more comfortable than waking up at 6 a.m. That resistance is why it makes it so hard to make any sort of change because it requires us to leave our comfort zone. So how do we overcome this resistance to change then? Change is a process, and that means that it takes time and it can't happen instantly. So that means that we have to train our brain to overcome this resistance. Let's say you have the goal of waking up at 6 a.m. every day. A lot of entrepreneurs want to make this change so they can start their work earlier in the day and be more productive. So let's say you set your alarm for 6 a.m. because you want to make this change. When your alarm rings in the morning, your brain will meet it with resistance and chances are you'll hit snooze. The only way to overcome that resistance would be to instead get out of bed right away when your alarm rings to show your brain you can do it. Doing it once though is not enough to show your brain that you've overcome the resistance. You have to do it over and over again to train your brain to start waking up at 6 a.m. This is why many people say it takes 28 days to build a habit because your brain has to recognize the change as the new normal. Once your brain has recognized the change as the new normal, it will no longer recognize change as a risk. Therefore, your brain will no longer have resistance because it has recognized change as the new normal. So basically, change is a process that takes time, and some changes will take longer than others, and that's why it's so important to stay motivated when trying to make a change. If you stay motivated, it makes it so much easier to change. To stay motivated, you have to think of the reason why you want to make this change throughout the entire process. Like I mentioned earlier, an entrepreneur would want to wake up at 6 a.m. every day to get more work done and be more productive. Every day that they get out of bed, they would need to think of why waking up this early would be beneficial to them. It would help grow their business and help them complete more tasks they need to get done. It would also give them more time during the day. All of these things would be beneficial to them, and that's why it would be great motivation for them to use throughout their process of change. This is why I believe mindset is so important with change, because if you don't have this mindset that you want to change every single day, your motivation will run out and you'll eventually end up back where you started in the comfort zone. So that brings up a really good question. What happens if we have a setback during this change? Let's say you want to start eating healthy. You start the process of change and eat healthy for 2 weeks, but during that 3rd week, you eat junk food for 2 days. This setback obviously slows down the process of change, but there's a way to prevent it from making us go back to where we started. We have to be self-aware. If we notice a trend where we are starting to go back to our old ways of eating junk food, we have to remind ourselves that we are trying to change and this setback needs to stop. That's why we have to be self-aware at all times during this process to make sure the setback doesn't stop our change. Change is a choice, and if you want to change your life, you have to make the choice every single day to do it. Brain may try to resist that change, but you have the choice to make that change. So about 2 months ago, I realized I needed change and that my brain's resistance to change was holding me back. The resistance was making me procrastinate and never do anything. Like I said, I was laying around all day, I was scrolling through social media, I was eating junk food, and I was feeling unhappy every morning. I wanted to change my entire mindset so I could finally start being productive and start this YouTube channel and finally start following my dreams. So I made the choice that I was going to change. I wrote down a list of all the things I wanted to change in my life. I wanted to start waking up earlier, running, working out more, eating healthier, reducing the amount of time I spent on social media, create a daily routine, and start my YouTube channel. That seems like a lot to do all at once, right? So that's why I did one thing at a time. First, I started with the workout plan. I wanted to start running again because I knew cardio reduced anxiety, and it's a big part of staying in shape. So I started running 10 minutes a day for 2 weeks, which wasn't so difficult, but starting simple motivated me to actually start. I should also mention that the type of running I was doing was sprinting back and forth. This type of running takes a lot of endurance compared to normal jogging. That's why I started with such a low amount of time. After the first 2 weeks, I upped the time to 20 minutes, and that is the current amount of time I do every day on my workout plan. My workout plan also consisted of lifting weights and doing bodyweight exercises, but I had already been doing these two things for years, so there wasn't much I had to change here. But since I was making a change, I wanted to make my bodyweight exercises and my lifting weights more intense, so I added more reps to the exercises I was already doing. With this workout plan, I also added a healthy diet. I wanted to eat more healthy and make sure I wasn't eating too much junk food. I didn't remove junk food completely because let's be honest, who can resist chocolate, chips, and all those other good junk foods? I instead just limited the amount I had and made sure I wasn't eating too much of them. After about a month, I was able to realize the changes this workout routine was making to my life. I was feeling more fit and I was feeling more motivated. I felt like it was finally time for me to start making YouTube videos. My motivation had finally returned. This is when I finally wrote the script for my Stop Waiting to Follow Your Dreams video, and I was finally ready to start making videos again. I woke up the next morning after writing the script the night before, and I woke up way earlier than I normally do because I was so excited to start making videos again. I spent that whole day recording the video, and after I finished recording that day, I realized that I was finally changing. My brain was starting to overcome the resistance I always had holding me back. Finally, a week later, I uploaded the video to YouTube. I felt my mindset changing. I was feeling more motivated and I was more happy. As the next few weeks went by, I noticed I was starting to get up earlier and that I was using my time to work on my YouTube videos. I was no longer laying around all day scrolling through social media. I was now using my time to be productive. I wanted to make sure I kept these improvements that I made and all the motivation I had gained, so I created a daily routine. This daily routine would give me a certain time to wake up, and it would also give me certain times to work during the day, so I wouldn't find myself scrolling through social media at random times. I've been doing this routine for about a month now, and it's really helped keep me focused and productive. If you want to see a video on this routine, which I probably will be doing in the future, just make sure to press subscribe right there. All these changes I've made in my life have definitely helped me improve my life and made me feel a lot more happier. I'm now fully committed to making my dreams come true of being a YouTuber, and although I have yet to reach my goal of being a full-time YouTuber and inspiring as many people as I can, I've started my journey towards it. I've overcome my resistance to change, and I hope this video can do the same thing for you. I feel like right now is a great time to make this video because it's New Year's and a lot of people are making their resolutions, and I hope all you guys can stick to your resolutions this year and actually see the change you want in your lives. Thank you for watching the video, and if I inspired you today, just make sure to leave a comment below. Thank you for watching it. I just said that. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. I've said that 3 times now, but I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.